Hello, Deborah.
Hello, Ryan. Oh, you got a haircut for us. Look at you. Galo, did you get a haircut for us?
Yeah, I did.
You did. You do. You have little spiky hair, and I see you have a new down vest on. So look at you, all spiffied up for the girls who print today. First of all, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today and being the first gentleman to ever participate on a Girls Who Print event. I really appreciate that. That alone is big and bold. So let's just start off with that. I As I mentioned in the introduction, our progression has moved from we need to be big and bold in what we do in the industry we support. And now we need to work somewhere. So we're going to focus this session on creating a big and bold company culture. And there are, in my experience, both of these gentlemen have done exceptional work worthy of sharing with everybody and hopefully laying a foundation of groundwork that can be emulated by other people. So Ryan, I've actually known you the longest. So if we can start with you, you are the EVP of Sales and Marketing at Specialty Print Communications. Can you share a little bit about yourself and what you do there?
Yeah. So as Deborah had mentioned my title, SPC, we're a third generation family business, and I went to Western Michigan University, which had a print program at the time. And then after graduation, did customer service before joining the sales team. And now I lead both our sales and marketing team here at SPC.
And how many people work there, Ryan?
So we have a little over 400 full-time employees. We could probably use around 500 as we all struggle these days, but certainly we're continuing a growth pattern, which is great.
Excellent. Now, Galo, Fraga, you are the owner and CEO of Fraga Graphic Solutions. Can you please tell everybody a little bit about you and your company?
Sure. I'll try to be short, but I've been in the print industry my whole life. Started when I was 6 years old from a family business. Grandparents, great grandparents have been in the business, and then ended up in Rochester, New York in RIT, went to school for printing management. The goal was to take over my dad's shop, which I did for a little bit. And that got me to the United States. And I've been in the US for almost 20 years now, and worked for a bunch of different printing companies. And ended up deciding that I wanted to open my own, do something slightly different, utilizing everything that that made me advance and then help me move things forward. So I tried to use that as the main idea of the company, and that's what we are. So we're a printing and marketing company that provides pretty much solutions. And one of the things that we do in the spirit of the big and bold is we take a challenge and we go through it and figure out how we make it happen. So my goal is always, as a company, we like to move things forward, move people forward, move companies forward. So we're always trying to realize the potential of everybody.
Excellent. So Ryan and I met many years ago, and he was one of the biggest supporters of the Girls Who Print live events that used to take place at the Graph Expo shows in Chicago, which happens to be Ryan's hometown. So I mean, he would show up with Girls Who Print cookies printed on them, and his people would come to our show, and I started talking to him more and more, and realized that he had been immersed in working with schools and with workforce development, and just has always been a champion of the print industry from that position. And Gallo, we actually just met very recently at the America's Print Show, but you made such an impression on me. I was actually standing in the Rico booth when we met, as a matter of fact. And you had come over and you had some female employees with you, and you were all excited. You were like, that's the Girls Who Print lady. And you said, we're coming back tomorrow with all of our employees. And I was like, what? And you did. You came back the next day, and because you were local to that show in Columbus, so you had brought everybody there to our Girls Who Print event. So I immediately just appreciated and respected that you were a man of your word, and you also were on a mission. And because it's not every gentleman who owns a print shop that's like, let's bring all the female employees to an event, for a few hours. Let's take them out of the print shop, or take them out from dealing with what they're dealing, and come to this because it's important. And that's what you had said to me. It was important. So I'm actually going to start with you, Galo. How do you define a company culture, and what were the signs for you that it needed to be addressed in your company?
So, well, from the moment that I created the company, I was kind of in the idea of like, the main idea was to move people forward, right? Like, so that's what I had in my mind. And as I hire people, the people that I ended up hiring, put that spark on me of challenging and asking me why are we doing this, asking me why are we doing that, and sort of through that was the catalyst, I guess, to create a culture that is all about how do we make it different, how do we make it better, how do we push the limit, how do we accomplish new things. And I'm speaking in a lot of questions because that's the way that I kind of like life work in my life, is that everything's about questioning myself and figuring out what I can move forward, what I can do with it. So the culture became this idea of how do I empower anybody that I work with? How do I help them advance and evolve and potentially think differently? And through that, our values became, known, and our mission became known. And that's how we will continue to push that. So that's where my culture is. And I guess that, it become stronger and stronger and clearer for us of how do we make that moving forward and pushing people to the next step and pushing the limit.
Ryan, same question for you. How do you define company culture, and what were the signs at SPC that it needed to be addressed?
Yeah, I would say company culture is how things get done within our organization, really both formally and informally. And from looking at our company, we're 26 years old, and we went from literally a handful of employees to over 400 in a couple of decades. And so there's been a constant transition where it went from being hands-on with absolutely everything to looking pretty early on going, hey, we got to make sure that we put in the right leaders in the right positions, instill trust within them, but build the culture for success. And I would say that print's an old school industry, and it's a little frustrating to kind of watch that. We all kind of just accept that, but I think what we want to try to do is push that and move the old school out and do things in a better way that brings a better culture. So we've done a lot of things to try to improve that culture. It can certainly still be improved, but we're trying to do that and build that culture every day.
Now, we had spoke before we are doing this session, obviously, as I do with everybody, and you had mentioned that as your company started to grow, you started getting a little concerned, like, are they happy here?
Yeah.
And that was one of the signs for you that, oh, maybe we should do something about that. So can you speak on that?
Yeah. So in one of our departments, you could just kind of feel the tension, and it's just not okay with myself or the other leaders within the company. And so what we wanted to do was address that. And so we took some different steps to do that, where we had different people in sort of different areas of the company. We combined them sort of in a closer area when we used to actually go to the office, right? That used to happen, so that we could improve the lines of communication. And there were a few people that we let go because they were negative influences on the culture. And we thought it was more important to build that culture and have, SPC is a family business. Like I said, we want that family culture to be who we are. It's just like when I go out in our press room and I know Walt on the first sheet fed, and his cousin just signed, or his nephew just signed, pro basketball contract in Israel. Like, those are the things that we want to be able to walk and know everybody and everybody be inclusive of that.
That's amazing. So Galo, at your company, how does the company culture manifest? Can I see it? Is it described on your website? Does it trickle into the messaging about your company in employment ads, in interviews? I also ask a lot of questions, so please, Galo.
No, not a problem. So yes, we decided to be a company that is employee first. We try to make our decisions based on that, and obviously we ask from the people that work for us, a lot. At the same time that we give a lot from that point of view, we're always trying to understand where they're coming from and everything else, and that's how all of our, like I was saying, our vision of values that we put on the website, and something unique that I haven't seen that often is our promise to our employees. I actually put it in writing what I expect, or what I am challenged to do for everybody that works for me, and how am I going to do it, right? Like, so that's how we do it, is the manifestation of that idea of how do we, I'm gonna say it probably 20 times today, but it's moving the people forward. How do we keep thinking that way, and challenges our thought, challenging the way that we are doing things, that we have done them in the past, to change it and do that, right? Like, we don't have enough women in the industry. What are we doing about it? We don't have, enough diversity in our shop. What are we doing about it? And what are we currently doing within it? So those are the questions that we're always challenging, and trying to figure out, being honest with ourselves and honest with the employees about what we're trying to accomplish. I guess that's the way that we do it.
We also, had the conversation before this session, and you mentioned something to me that I really think needs to be shared with everybody out there, whether you're a business owner or manager, and that is your accountability, 4 steps of accountability if something goes wrong in your print shop, and how your model takes it away from being fear-based to being supportive. Can you share those 4 steps with everybody, please?
Sure. Well, the 4 steps are: anytime something goes wrong, anytime anything happens, we're looking at process is number 1. How, was it a process failure? Did we do anything in there that we didn't see before that needs to be addressed? Number 2 is, was it a training issue? Did we actually train the individual to do it? Is it on us, right? Is the first question. Did we do everything that we needed to do in order for them to be able to succeed? And the number 3 is, we look at situational. Something must have been different that we didn't think of it before, and therefore it makes the error more understandable, and therefore it comes out easier. And the last thing, obviously, is looking at the individual, right? So the main idea of what we're seeing in the company is that 99% of the time is a process issue. We forgot to put something in the process, and then it's going to be a training issue. It seems to be that's number 2 every single time, and most of the time that's where it ends. It's rarely that we get to the third one, where the situation happened. And if it does, it's like we look at it, we look it over and move forward, right? Like get to the next step, because we don't have time to dwell on whatever happened or didn't happen. And it makes people being able to come to you very quickly at like, okay, something happened on the machine, help. And then we run to her and it's like, okay, did you follow the process? Yes. Did you remember about this? No. Oh, yeah, we didn't train you on that. That just happened yesterday. We had a problem on our booklet maker, and that's exactly it. It's like, oh, that's a mistake that we made. It's something that the company forgot to explain. So when you look at it very quickly, you don't get that frustration of like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody did something wrong. And you move forward very quickly.
It's also about the culture of feeling supported instead of oppressed, feeling like you can go to you and say, we have an issue, instead of trying to hide it or not tell people about it, and things of that nature. So I just think it's an amazing 4 steps, and I hope that everybody really embraces those and takes them to heart, to create a culture of problem solving, not blame, but pointing blame at people. I really think that that changes the whole mood in any company or any setting at all. Ryan, what are some positive business results you can attribute to making company culture a priority at SBC?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, as you know, I had mentioned the story about the one department. What we saw was when we sort of righted the ship there and had the right leadership in that department, but certainly the right vision from the top, the longevity of employees certainly increased in the happiness. So that's certainly the top thing. But I think there's definitely a just an advantage of productivity that you can't exactly quantify, but when people are happier in doing their positions, I think you're going to get more out of them. And we're always trying to look at different ways to do that. I mean, I had mentioned also how we're somewhat of an old school industry in the way we think. The supply chain challenges have been really difficult on everybody within a print company over the last, whatever it is, 18 months. And we sort of have to work 3 times as hard for the same results. And it just makes it challenging. So, for instance, this morning, actually, my brother and I, my brother Adam, who's our president, what we wanted to do was because we know it's stressful in this busy time of the year, we want to do something for employees. And I mean, the easy thing is, okay, hey, let's give them a bonus or let's do something like that. But money, doesn't exactly, I mean, that solves maybe some problem, but that's not the best answer always. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try, we typically have the week between Christmas and New Year's as a regular work week because clients are looking for that. So what we're going to try to do is shut down our entire front office, and we're going to now be reworking schedules with clients to try to make that happen. I'm sure we're going to have to work a skeleton crew, but say if we have 20 people on our account management group, maybe we have 4 working each day. But those are some of the things that we're looking to do to help improve the happiness of people, because it's, like I said, we're a family business, and that's important to us.
You didn't mention your food trucks and all the cool stuff that you're doing that I
Yeah.
see pictures of. I get a little jealous sometimes when I see those food trucks, but you've really tried to, I, I've been to your place. You actually invited me for your anniversary to come over and speak to everybody there. And 1000% it was a family atmosphere. You completely got that. I also really did appreciate that you and your dad and your brother, you knew every single person who was there. It wasn't just like, oh, that guy in the bindery who's in the corner. Like everybody was interacting with everybody. It wasn't like, oh, upper management's in this corner. And so congratulations on all of that. So
Thanks.
uh yeah, it's just amazing. Now, I'll just stay with you right now so we can wrap this up. In the big and bold sense, why is this something that all companies need to address, especially like what Gallo said about making sure that we are, to the best of our ability, pulling in women and people of color, and making it less of a old seeming industry through
Mhm.
that visual. Um, and I have to say that of there are women business owners on this Zoom and are certainly out there in the world. They are already doing this. So I would like for you to please address more the men out there, if you can, on why it's something that's important.
Yeah, I mean, just it starts with humanity. It's it's the right thing to do. In the way that we work with people. From the business perspective, I think there's a ton of benefit as well. So it's essentially a mutual win-win for everybody. And we want to make sure that our leadership team is reflective and diverse. Just like our workforce is. And certainly that's something that you can't just snap your fingers and fix overnight. But it's definitely not only a short, a medium, but a long-term goal of ours to make sure and do that. I mean, we have some amazing ladies on our leadership team. One of which I'll mention her by name is Teresa Frederick, and she oversees our entire mailing, bindery, and letter shop. So she has probably close to 200 people that in the scope all report up into her. And what I love about Teresa is she's super process oriented, and just one of those people where she measures twice and cuts once, right? And does things the right way to help build that culture of the family culture that we want to build throughout the organization. And you had going back to what you had said about the food truck, so that was something that we had. So in the beginning of kind of the supply chain issues where we were working in the manufacturing quite a number of hours, what we wanted to do is we wanted to show our appreciation. And the reality is we couldn't give extra time off at that point, without hurting our client relationships, of which we want to make sure our clients are happy, but our employees are happy too. So what we did was we do this once a month now, but we did for 12 straight weeks, we did the taste of SPC. There's a taste of Chicago. We did the taste of SPC. And so once a week, we would have some sort of a food event, which when you think about it, when you have 400 people, 4 buildings, 3 shifts, it's a lot of planning. So it's not easy to do. That's the hard part. And food trucks don't like coming at 2 a.m. I can assure you that. But we had, a number of food trucks. We had, like super high-end donut places deliver and all sorts of things like that to just make it a fun, more casual atmosphere. I love the Kona ice truck. That was one of my favorites over the summer.
Okay, I didn't know that you did it at night too. So you just one-upped yourself, and that's amazing. Galo, big and bold. Why is this something all companies need to address? And by the way, I think you have all women in your management team, and 2 of them are married, I believe. Yeah.
One of them is married, another one in a long-term relationship, and 2 of them are married to each other. Yes,
That's what I meant. Yeah.
yes. It just it's been an awesome time to be the CEO of this company. I've learned a lot, and just talking to the people out there, right, and CEOs and owners or whoever it is get out of your way. It's not about you. The company is the collection of the people that you have, and if the people that you have are I enjoy what they do, and you understand what their wants are, and you are able to allow yourself to be challenged on a daily basis and have uncomfortable situations and be able to sit down and understand all of that, you're going to have a great culture. And by looking at everything that you're inherently doing differently, that potentially prohibiting what you want, you're inherently doing exactly what you don't want, right? Like, so we've been looking at, our job descriptions. How do we look at our job descriptions? Is there anything in there that could potentially, it's taking people out of the running, right? And in the idea of the big and bold is saying like, hey, look at a job, and if you have a minimal idea of you may be able to do it, apply for it. Because there are more companies, I'm one of them. I'm looking for people that are not in the industry. I'm looking for people that have something different to provide and to bring to the industry. So if more companies out there will do something like that, I'm sure every company is going to have more diversity. I'm sure every company is going to include more people. So therefore, stop making it about you. That's basically it.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, and for truly being examples of possibilities when in a way you put people ahead of profits in order to get to the profits, because happy people who feel supported, people who feel don't have fear over making mistakes or asking questions, are more productive, and there's less mistakes, and there's more people that can help and support each other. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing about what you've both done with your companies, and for being big and bold and joining us on this Girls Who Print event. Thank you very much. We've put links to your LinkedIn in the chat, but please go stick links to your company or social media, anything else you want. And I'm going to actually put on a little slideshow, and we are going to prepare to give out the Girly Award and the Rising Print Award. So thanks, everybody. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.